And now a look at today's other news. Sir Edward Heath, the former Prime Minister, has arrived in Baghdad. He's trying to win the freedom of 3 Britons jailed for entering Iraq illegally. Earlier this evening, Sir Edward met Tariq Aziz, the Deputy Prime Minister, as part of his mission to lobby the Iraqi government. It's understood that Mr Aziz assured Sir Edward before he left England that the 3 men would be released. All 3 were imprisoned for illegal entry into Iraq. Michael Wainwright was arrested after crossing the border between Turkey and Iraq while on a cycling trip last year. Simon Dunn, nearest the camera, and Paul Ryde were picked up by guards on the Kuwaiti border. Paul Ryde when he sought help from Iraqi guards after getting lost in the desert. Although the 3 men have been tried and convicted, they are effectively hostages. Saddam Hussein had hoped to use them to force the United Nations to lift the sanctions imposed on his country after the Gulf War. These have affected ordinary Iraqis for some time, but now they're thought to be threatening the future survival of the regime itself. Sir Edward last met Saddam in 1990 when he negotiated the release of Britons who had been kept as a so-called human shield to protect the country from attack in the run-up to the Gulf War. Arab diplomats say that if Sir Edward pulls off his latest mission, it will be because Saddam is courting Western leaders in the hope of sanctions being lifted. He has already released 4 hostages after high-level representations. Jacques Delors, the President of the European Commission, has launched a white paper which aims to create 15 million jobs by the end of the century. His plans for an increase in spending on infrastructure are likely to cause a furore at Friday's Brussels summit. In New York, 5 people were killed and 21 injured when a gunman opened fire on a crowded commuter train. The man was finally overpowered by passengers when he reloaded his semi-automatic pistol for the 2nd time. Police say the gunman had a racial motive for the shootings. A man has been jailed for life for the murder of his 3-year-old stepdaughter. Nottingham Crown Court was told that Leanne White had more than 100 separate injuries, many caused by repeated blows to the stomach. And now a look at the markets in London. The 100 share index closed up 40 points at 32.77. In New York, the Dow Jones closed up 15 points at 37.34. The pound was up against the mark by more than a penny at 2 marks 55.3. And in New York, it rose slightly against the dollar to $1.49.4. Well, now time for a quick look at the papers. Daily Express, battle of the handbags. That's Presley Baxendale putting Lady Thatcher on the spot over arms to Iraq. Daily Telegraph, Whitehall let me down, says Thatcher. The Times, Church plan to loosen the link with the Crown. And we just heard about that Delors' New Deal on jobs. Major rejects Delors' New Deal on jobs in the Independent. And also, icy Thatcher denies that she knew about Iraq export decision. From The Guardian, Thatcher not told of Iraq arms change. Well, that's all from Newsnight for tonight. The next news is in Business Breakfast at 6 tomorrow morning, with breakfast news an hour later. We'll be back tomorrow night at 10:30. Until then, from all of us on the programme, a very good night to you.